Good morning again, boat lovers. Another lovely day here. Such a beautiful spring morning. We had tons of rain last night. It's all clear this morning. So today I am about to put the roof beams up on the wheelhouse. So I've been making lots of progress with that. I got the walls up and in place yesterday, and today I'm going to get all the laminated curved roof beams into place, get those set in, and then once the glue dries there, I should be able to start on the windscreen. So I really feel like we're making some progress. Come into the shed and I'll show you what we've been doing. Ooh, a bit dark in here. All right. Here we go. I also made some steps, one here and one the other side of the wheelhouse floor. So these are spaced really easily for walking up. Don't need to dip my head or anything like that. And I've got some steps down in there on the other side. But here is the wheelhouse walls. Okay, so I'll take the clamps and bits and pieces off and start measuring up for my placement of the roof beams. All right, we'll get into that. My name's Steve, and Millie the Wonder Dog and I are single-handedly building Dragonfly, a 53-foot or 16.2 metre flat-bottom wooden riverboat, specifically designed for inland and sheltered waters of the Murray River here in South Australia. Join us each week to follow the mayhem and madness that go hand in hand with one man and his dog building a massive flat-bottom wooden boat. Hello again, boat lovers. I am very pleased with what I got done yesterday. I'll show you some of that, along with the two panels that I've glued in this morning at the back of the wheelhouse. I can show you those from here, I think, if I turn this around. So there I've extended the height of those panels right to the top. And now I'm working on, well, of course, there's all my beams that I glued in last night. I think I showed you those in the last bit of video. They're all dry, which is great. And now I'm working on the windscreen, which, as per the model, runs across here, across the front, and then back along there, and it's absolutely vertical. I've just done some measuring. I'm going to make just some solid panels and glue those into place. I'll make sure that I have the grain of the ply running vertically like I have with everything else, because I think I'll have a varnished finish. Pretty much inside the wheelhouse, everything will be a varnished timber finish to get that kind of nautical boaty look. Everywhere else in the boat will be an antique white finish with timber trim. So that will highlight the timber and will let lots of light in and make the boat feel quite light and airy inside, which is what I want. But the wheelhouse, I really want that kind of old worldy, solid timber varnished look. So anything that I can varnish, I will. But it does mean I have to be conscious of running the grain of the plywood and any other timbers in the right direction. So what I'll do with these window frames, I think, is make them in solid panels, put those into place, and then where I would normally run a glue fillet around the edges, I'll run timber trim, which will sort of frame up the panels, make it look nice and chunky. And then of course later on, we'll cut the inserts out for where the windows are going. But I think using straight panels to start with, complete flat panels, is going to be easier than trying to frame it up first. So I've done some measuring. I'm about to cut out this panel here, which will eventually be a window that opens out. The other two side windows will be fixed. So I'll get that panel done and move on from there. Alrighty. Just going to cut this piece out and then put it up the top and mark all the curves and things. I'm finding this part of the hull a great spot to use as a workbench. It's a great height to work down on these sheets while I'm cutting them, so that's a bit of a bonus. Wasn't planned, but I will take it. Some of these panels are a little bit warped. I should have stacked them all flat, which would make it easier, but I can pull them into place as I go. It's okay, but I know I should really spend an afternoon stacking all my offcuts and stack them dead flat with some weight on top to keep them nice and plumb, because when I'm just making panels and things, it makes it a lot more time consuming if I have to brace all the panels to keep them straight while the glue dries. Anyway, there we go. Take two, I'll go and cut this out. Cut this curve on the bottom to fit across there, and then I'll be back. Right, I had used the vertical measurement for the horizontal one by mistake, but that's not a problem because I have plenty of material there, so nothing wasted. Right, I'll go and cut this out and see if I can clamp it in place. Okay, I've got those panels in place and I'm about to grab some lunch and come back and glue those in position. I'll give you a look. I don't know if you can see behind me, but it is starting to look like a wheelhouse now. So I'll just bring this camera forward and show you those panels. They still need a little bit of straightening up, but I'll be able to pin gun them together, I think, while the glue dries. And that should hold them, fingers crossed. Right, so there we have the panels for the wheelhouse windows. So if I go around slowly, I'll do the 360. So So there are the panels. That's the opening for the sliding door. That's my wall panels, which will have one sliding window in the middle and a fixed window at the back. And there's my back panels. That completes the wheelhouse tour. I'm going to grab some lunch and I'll see you back in the shed when I glue these things into place. Okay. Well, good morning again, boat lovers. I have been pretty darn busy over the last couple of days trying to get the windshield, the windscreen all framed up for the wheelhouse. It was pretty tricky, lots of weird angles and things, but I think the result is okay and pretty much the way I want it. I really want that sort of authentic, chunky, nautical wheelhouse feel, and it's the only room, or only cabin in the whole boat that will be all timber finish. You know, a varnish finish over everything. So we'll whiz up these little steps. Here we go, and I'll show you where I'm up to. Today I'm about to, I finished sanding all the framework yesterday, and this morning I'm going to sand the bulkhead face, and then once that's done, glue everything into place. So as usual, I'll spin the camera around and show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Right, so there's the bulkhead face that I'm going to sand back because that's going to be a varnished finish. And then I'll come in a little closer, and there's my framework, which is just sitting loosely in place at the moment. So that was a little bit tricky getting all the weird angles and things. It went pretty smoothly until the very last piece that I was putting in. I used 4 pieces of wood to get that. I just couldn't get it right, but there we go. So, and of course this will have windows in it. The central window here will be opening out, and each side one, they're both fixed windows. And then at the sides, of course, we've got sliding door there. Then we're going to have a sliding window here, and at the back that'll be a fixed window. So fixed, sliding, opening, fixed, opening out, fixed, sliding, sliding, and fixed. So as I say, my job this morning, get this bulkhead all sanded nicely, and then hopefully I can glue everything into place. There are lots of pieces with this. I turn around here, hopefully you can see back there. This piece here is a separate piece that runs right down the face of the bulkhead, and I've got this separate piece of framing here. So I'm hoping that I can glue these in and continue around today, but worst case scenario, I'll just have to glue these front pieces in, let them dry nice and solid, and then I can move around. But I'm reasonably confident I can get it all done in one go. We'll see. Alrighty, let's get to it. Well, good morning again, boat lovers. It is Wednesday the 13th of September, and we are definitely into spring. It is a glorious day, and I have to say that I am pretty excited this morning because I'm going to be putting on the wheelhouse roof. I glued all the windscreen and the framing into place yesterday, so that will be dry this morning. I'll be taking all the clamps off, doing a little bit of cleanup, and then starting to put the wheelhouse roof on. And that's the highest point, so that really feels like I'm making some amazing headway. I've already been in the shed this morning, so the big door will be open. But I'll take you in and show you the framework around the windshield and how all that finished off, and then we'll get into putting the roof on. Okay. I often have the radio blaring away in the background while I'm working, and every time I switch the camera on I have to race over and turn the radio off, because if there's any music in the background, YouTube won't allow that because of copyright. And so I often start filming and chatting away, and then I realise the radio's on, so I've got to go and do it again like I did this time. But anyway, I will take you onto the boat, up the stairs, and show you what I got finished yesterday. There's the little steps I made. I'm going to redo those because I've made the steps a little bit, the actual tread's a little bit narrow, and the steps are actually too close to each other. So I thought I was being extra clever, but I'm going to have to redo them. They will work for now. Okay, and up we go. Right, there we are. There's a few little gaps in some of my joins, but I'll fill those. I'll mix up a little bit of the sanding dust and mix that with some epoxy and fill any gaps. But I'm still going to be putting the roof on first. So this should be a bit of a fun morning. My sister-in-law, Helena, who's also the other half of my band, the Shearlings, she's coming over this morning, and I might get her to give me a little bit of help if she's got time. We do a lot of music together, and her nickname is Ling, L-A-N-G, and my surname is Shear, S-H-I-E-R. So she came up with the name the Shearlings, and we seem to work well together. And I hope you like the music that we throw in the background. Most of it at this stage is just me, but the last couple of tunes I've thrown on there have been with Helena as well. So hopefully there's a bit more of that to come. Alrighty, I will throw this camera on the stand, get those clamps off, and start putting this roof on. Right, well, not everything goes to plan or the way you think it's going to go. I was about to start putting the roof on the wheelhouse, which I'm really looking forward to, but I just discovered that I've actually made the roof a little bit too wide, a little bit wider than the plywood sheeting. The idea was to have the sheet fitting perfectly on there, and I've made it about 50 mil, or what's that, about 2.5 inches too wide. So I'm just going to trim the outside off, re-glue the outside strip, and then put the roof on. So the area I'm talking about is this bit here. Along here, this needs to come in about that much on each side. A little bit annoying, but in some ways it's actually, maybe it's meant to be, because I did think that this corner here might be a little bit annoying when you're walking around the side decks, that you may have to sort of tip your head a little bit going past here. So if I bring this in slightly, it will it'll fix that problem. So maybe it's meant to be. I will chomp off these edges, reattach the outside strip, bring it in a little bit, same on the other side, and I won't have to wait for this glue to dry because these are screwed in as well. So I'll get them glued and screwed into place, and then I can proceed with getting the roof on. Alrighty. Good morning, boat lovers. Well, it is another morning in the boat shed, and I'm pleased to say that this morning I can do the big reveal of the wheelhouse roof. If I turn around here, you should be able to see that behind me. There we go. So there's a bit of a view of the roof. I'll give you a close-up, take all those clamps off. Then I'm going to do a bunch of sanding, and then I will put a coat of epoxy over all the woodwork in the wheelhouse. Wow, that looks amazing. That's a long way up. All right, let's go in and have a look. There's our roof profile from the back. And into the, that's the roof. So hopefully it's starting to look like a boat. I'll get these clamps off and get a bit of sanding done, and then put the epoxy on.
I'm just stuck here in a dream. I see the water coming in. I've got to learn how to swim.
I'm just getting ready to steam the back of this so I can bend it around to make a top edge for the bench seat in the wheelhouse. So I'm going to steam the back of this, or the front actually, steam that, then fill this with epoxy and bend it round to hopefully get the right curve. Alrighty. My wallpaper steamer ready to go. Rightio, here we go.
I'm just stuck here in a dream. I see the water coming in. I've got to learn how to swim.
Come and do the inspection in the boat. Good. Oh, we like the wheelhouse seat, do we? Well, that's it for this week, boat lovers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as Millie and I enjoyed making it. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and we look forward to bringing you another video in the next week or so. Take care. See you then.